So I was looking over the practice sheet and there was two that I needed to put in there and I didn't put in there. Sorry, had to be a little longer. Parabola has a vertex at -5, 3 and passes through the point 0, -12. Write the equation of this parabola in vertex form. So, one of the issues is simply going to be that we don't know what vertex form is. And vertex form is something I've done with y'all. We started school in what, August? So August, September, October, for almost 3 months now, we've been working with vertex form. For a quadratic, it's a times x minus h, quantity squared plus k. And this is not a Milbrath issue. This is a U issue, 100%. I'm not trying to be negative. I'm just simply telling you've got to take the time to memorize. You cannot take this course without memorizing. Now, where do we get the letters h and k? Well, we get that from the vertex. So we can just plug those in. So we'd have y equals a times x, take away a -5. That's going to make that a positive, right? Quantity squared, a lot of kids forget the square, and then plus k, which is 3. So the problem is, what is a? I have to know what a is, or I don't have an actual equation. If I don't have a, I have to know what it is. Well, that's where this point comes from. This gives you an x and a y, and this is something we've been doing. We've been plugging things in. -12 must equal a times x is going to be 0. 0 plus 5 quantity squared, and then plus 3. I've watched a lot of kids multiply the a first. Remember this guy, PEMDAS? You see arguments on Facebook over math, and it's always about PEMDAS. Parentheses, exponents, multiply, divide, add, or subtract. So the first thing that you have to actually do is this, because that's an exponent. It's also parentheses. 0 plus 5 is 5. 5 squared is 25. That's the order you do it. So -12 is equal to 25 a's. That a, 25 is attached to a plus a 3. Next move, subtract 3. -15 is equal to 25 a's. Last move, divide by 25. If you cannot reduce 15 over 25, God bless. Use a calculator to do it. Anyways, both those numbers are divisible by 5. 15 divided by 5 is 3. 25 divided by 5 is 5. So I get that a is -3/5. So my equation in vertex form is simply y equals -3/5 of x plus 5, quantity squared, and then plus the 3. That's part 1. I graded some quizzes this morning, and part 2 is bad. I did. You're supposed to write it in standard form. So if something is squared, we're going to write it twice. And, a lot of kids did that. They wrote it twice, but then they acted like they didn't know what to do. So you'll notice that as I do this, I put a hard bracket around this. Put a hard bracket around this. That's called a master bracket. It means do that stuff first. You need to figure out what x plus 5 times x plus 5 is. The master bracket is something that we've kind of dropped from terminology. I'm not sure why. I don't ever hear it referred to often anymore. Anyways, we'd have an x squared. I'm going to leave the master bracket there. We'd have plus 5x plus another 5x. That's going to be 10x. And then plus 25, because 5 times 5 is 25. And then we have the plus 3. Now, what you'll see kids do is they'll add 25 and 3 together. That happens all the time. It's a common mistake. But that x squared plus 10x plus 25 is still inside something. A master bracket is really nothing more than a set of parentheses, but we're just going to distribute that -3/5 in and then drop the bracket. We'll have -3/5 of x squared. If we don't know what -3/5 times 10 is, we need to fix that, right? That's -3/5 times 10, which is -30 over 5, which is -6. It worked out, didn't it? So minus 6x. Now we got -3/5 times 25. Remember, this is over a 1. -3 times 25 is -75. 5 times 1 is 5. -75 over 5. It should be, what's it reduced to? It's like I had a brain fart there. 15, -15. So that's negative. And then I can bring down that plus 3 at the end. Way too many children are doing things out of order. Like, what have you been doing in school? I don't get it. I mean, I remember learning this in middle school, how to square things and stuff like that. So I don't get it. I don't know. All right, 15. A parabola has intercepts at -4, 0, and 6, 0. It has a y-intercept at 0, 12. What is the equation of the parabola in general intercept form? General intercept form is y equals a times x minus p times x minus q, where p and q are x-intercepts. And you might also see somebody say roots or solutions or whatever. You might see that. You might see stuff like that. So all you really have to do is just plug in those x values I gave you. That's really it. Of course, you're going to have to figure out what a is. You're going to have to take away a -4. Remember, I've told you this repetitively. When you enter a set of parentheses, you change your sign. That's only true with the exception of maybe function notation. And then we have -6. And again, the goal is, what is that guy? I got to figure that guy out. Well, that's where the other point comes from. And just like above, it gives you an x and it gives you a y. So you're going to plug that dude in. Y is 12 when x is 0. And this is another one of these, I've seen lots of kids over the year. They write that, and then I don't know what happens after, because the next line is nonsense. It just blows my mind. 0 plus 4 is 4. 0 minus 6 is -6. A lot of it is because we don't know how to write. We don't write the way the math teacher writes. We don't write the way we've been modeled to write. We come up with our own little thing. And our own little thing is often wrong. Anyways, 4 times a -6 is -24. So 12 is -24 a's. We just divide out the -24 and we have the a value. So a is going to be -1/2. And I'll see a lot of kids stop right there. That's where they will stop. You don't stop here. You don't stop. You are asked to write an equation. You're supposed to put that number right there. You might say, well, I know what it is. I don't care. I told you to write an equation. If you stop here and you don't put a back where it belongs, I will have to take off, because you are not answering the full question. You are partially answering it. Do I think you understand what's going on? Probably. But I don't really know, because you can't finish a question. You have to finish the question. That's the equation. Anyways, there's the last two questions. I hope you enjoyed.